Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. Today we're talking about the K2 Mindbender 108 Ti. Pretty big ski, this is squarely in the freeride category, and it's got some metal in it too. So it's a strong, powerful freeride ski. Kind of has some big mountain influence if you like skiing really fast and aggressively through variable conditions, steep technical terrain. You're gonna love the Mindbender 108 Ti. That said, among skis like that, these big wide skis with metal, I do think the Mindbender 108 Ti has some kind of, not playfulness to it, but it is a pretty capable freeride ski in the sense that you can do different turns on it. You can release the tail edge and get it to go sideways. You can maneuver it through technical terrain as long as you're a pretty good skier. That's typically what we see with the Mindbender 108 Ti, is if you put a more intermediate level skier on it or a less aggressive skier, they're just gonna feel a little bit overpowered. But if you put a competent, good, strong skier on it, then it becomes this like super versatile tool. One of our testers, Grant, was on it in our test this year and even said that it was inspiring, said that a lot of skis in this category feel like a little bit too planted and a little bit too serious, and that the Mindbender had a lot of those characteristics and that feel. It feels strong and it feels planted, but it feels a little bit more nimble. You can kind of flick it around a little bit. But again, I'll throw the caveat in there one more time that you do have to be a pretty good skier. So this has got a demo binding on it. Obviously, it's going to make it hard to put on our scale and get a true weight. There's all sorts of places you can find the weight of this ski. It's on the heavier side. What you see in the Mindbender line is, unsurprisingly, as you move up in width, they get heavier and heavier. The 89 Ti almost feels kind of light compared to other skis in its category, other comparable skis. Once you get up here into the 108, it's a pretty hefty ski. But that's kind of important to its design. It needs to be pretty hefty, and it does share those same elements as narrower Mindbender Ti skis. So Aspen microblock wood core, pretty dense wood core, and then we got that Titanal Y-beam, so almost shaped like a tuning fork in how it goes along the edges in the forebody, full width underfoot, and then it tapers into the middle section of the ski back here. What that does is it gives you a ton of control, a ton of precision and power up here, but allows the tail to release more easily because there's less torsional stiffness back here. We'll just skip the scale for now and look at flex pattern. Pretty stiff ski. The 99 Ti, the Mindbender 99 Ti and the 108 Ti have very, very similar flex patterns. The 89 is a little softer, but that's a pretty burly ski. 108 underfoot with some metal and with a pretty stiff flex pattern like that, it's a lot of ski. What's super helpful with the Mindbender 108 Ti is we do get a good amount of rocker. If you had that construction and that flex pattern and didn't have much rocker, that's where, kind of like Grant was referring to, it would feel a little bit too planted. And there are people out there looking for a ski that feels very, very planted, and maybe you don't want or need all this rocker, but there aren't many people like that, and I think for most of us out there, having this rocker is very, very helpful. So a good amount of tip rocker up here. There's not much splay. That's really important to these skis. So that means if you tip it up on edge, you are going to engage most of the edge and get good stability and good control. Same thing in the tail. A lot of tail rocker by length, not a lot by splay. So if you are driving a turn, you're on a high edge angle, you benefit from all that power and that precision. It's a very strong ski. It feels great when you're skiing it hard and skiing it aggressively. It does allow for some versatility, some not really playfulness again, but you can take it into technical terrain, you can take it into trees, you can take it into bumps. If you're skiing a flatter edge angle, you're going to be able to get it to maneuver a little bit. I'm going to just keep putting in this disclaimer that you do need to be a pretty darn good skier. Grant, I've known for a long time and is a very capable, very accomplished skier, strong guy. That's the type of skier that's going to benefit from a ski like this. If you're not sure, or if you feel like you're more timid when you're skiing, or just not, if you're not 100% sure that you want a ski that's 108 underfoot with metal, you probably don't, if you know what I mean. Like, it's kind of one of those things where, like, if you have to ask, it's not for you. And while that is oversimplifying it a little bit, I do think that's pretty accurate. Generally, people shopping in this category know that they need to be in this category. And if that's you and you want a ski that's strong and capable, but maybe like a little bit more dynamic than some of the other choices out there, just in reference to different turn shapes and stuff like that, then I think the Mindbender 108 Ti is a great choice. I always enjoy skiing it myself. The way that I think about it is I kind of just don't weigh enough to like really need this much power. So in a 108 underfoot ski, or even like within K2's Mindbender line, I personally, in this width range, would just choose the Mindbender 106C, which is not a bad thing at all. That's why both of those skis exist. It's, to me, just a good example of when and who and why I should be choosing the Mindbender 108 Ti. It's not something that like everybody just needs to go straight to the Ti models because they're quote unquote better than the C models for some reason. They're not, they're just different. So think about yourself, think about your skiing style, think about what's going to benefit you the most, and let that dictate your decision. And again, like I said, it's generally, in my experience, generally people shopping for these skis know what they're looking for. And if that's you, awesome. If you're not sure, absolutely let us know if you have some questions, and we'd be more than happy to help steer you in one direction or the other. So that's it. That's the Mindbender 108 Ti from K2. Let us know if you have any questions about it, and we will see you out there on the slopes.